Today you're going to learn a really powerful technique called the shadowing technique. In this episode, I'll share the latest research that shows you how to get the best results from shadowing. Hi, my name is Herbert Lee, and I've been an English teacher for over 15 years and a student of English for over 70 years. English is not my mother tongue, so I had to learn it, just like many of you. I spend a lot of time researching better and faster ways to learn English so my students can get the best results in the least possible time. Today, I want to share with you the latest research on something called the shadowing technique. With this method, you can improve your vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, and speaking, all at the same time. Sometimes it's called the mirroring technique or mirror technique. Watch this episode to the very end so you can understand how it works and how you can do it. There are 3 parts to this video. 1, how the shadowing technique works. 2, the 5 steps to do the shadowing technique. And 3, best practices. Tips to get the best results and mistakes you should avoid. The shadowing technique is a very powerful technique, but it takes time to master the technique and get results. The technique itself is very simple, but very effective if done properly. If you want to do the shadowing technique, think long term. Give it at least 1 month before you make any judgment. Don't just try it for 1 or 2 days and then say it doesn't work and give up. The shadowing technique is one of the most used methods that polyglots use to learn a new language. And as you know, polyglots can speak 5, 6, 7 or more languages. So if it works for them, it can work for you too, if you give it some real effort. If you have some serious problems with pronunciation, it may take more time because you are trying to unlearn something. And unlearning is much more difficult than trying to learn something. Please listen and watch this entire video and understand how to do the shadow technique before starting. You can't just pick the parts that you like and do that. The shadowing technique, if done properly and correctly, will get great results. But it doesn't work well if you just pick at it and do it haphazardly. Okay? Let's get started. How does the shadowing technique work? Shadowing is a technique where you listen to an audio recording and then speak along with the speaker. It's a really powerful technique that can improve your English speaking skills because it helps you improve your pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, and overall fluency. You're trying to mimic a native speaker as closely as possible by repeating what they say in real time. A side benefit of shadowing that you also get is improving your vocabulary, because as you repeat what the speaker says, you internalize new words and phrases without even realizing it. You also understand how words are used in context, which is much more useful than learning words in isolation. You will learn to use words in a natural way. When you're using the shadowing technique, it's important to realize you may not understand what the speaker is saying. That's totally okay. It's exactly what happened when you were a baby growing up, listening to your parents talk without understanding what they said. For a year and a half, you just kept listening without understanding, and all the words went into your brain and you were able to use them later. That's why you never took vocabulary classes in your native language. Basically, the shadowing technique is a copy technique. You just copy what the speaker is saying. You don't have to understand what he or she is saying. Just copy. Yes, just copy. To actually do shadowing, you can choose an audio recording that is suitable for you. Find a podcast or audiobook that is suitable to your liking and taste. It's best to find material that you can understand about 50 to 60% without a dictionary. You can even look for materials that are not traditional English learning materials. Podcasts and TED Talks are very good. If you can find subject matter that you enjoy listening to, that's even better. Because if you're interested, you have a much better chance of listening and understanding. You should listen to the speaker several times. And here's the important part. Don't be anxious and impatient and try to copy the speaker at this point. Let me repeat that. Don't try to copy the speaker at this point. Just listen. If you copy poorly, you will keep repeating this mistake, and it will be harder to correct later. Only when you are comfortable can you try to copy and speak exactly like the speaker. Watch your pace and follow the pace of the speaker. Be aware of your pronunciation, and again, try to copy the speaker as closely as you can. This is how the shadowing technique works. Now, here are the 5 steps to master the shadowing technique. 1. Choose appropriate material. Select audio or video materials in English that matches your level of proficiency and interest. It could be a conversation, speech, podcast, or any other form of spoken English. Step 2. Practice active listening. Listen to the chosen material intently, multiple times, without distractions. Focus on understanding the words, phrases, intonation patterns, and rhythm used by the speaker. Like we talked about before, don't try to copy and speak at this point. Just listen. It's important to listen carefully because what you listen to is what you will be copying. It's important you listen carefully and copy what you hear, not what you think it sounds like. This is very important. Only when you are confident, increase the speed of your repetition to match or exceed that of the original speaker. Aim for fluency and naturalness in your delivery. You can record yourself at this point. Do a section at a time. Record the entire session at the end if possible, and then review. Don't record a section and review. This will allow you to analyze how closely you were able to match the original recording, Which words or phrases did you struggle with? What areas do you need more practice in? By identifying your weak points, you can make corrections for future shadowing sessions. Remember that consistency and regular practice are key to making progress with shadowing. Keep practicing regularly and challenge yourself with a variety of materials to improve your English fluency and pronunciation skills effectively. It's important to choose the right content for shadowing, such as movies or speeches that interest you. This will make the process more enjoyable and engaging. Record yourself and share the recording with better English speakers is invaluable. Getting feedback from others can help you find specific areas for improvement. Overall, the shadowing technique is a valuable tool in improving English language skills. With regularity and perseverance, using this technique, you will gain confidence in communicating fluently and effectively in real-life situations. Finally, don't try doing shadowing. Actually do it. You may think it is too difficult and try to change how to do it. Then it's not the shadowing technique, and it will not be effective. It's probably just what you've already been doing for years, which hasn't worked. So you'll be doing the same thing without good results. So there you have it. This is the end of part 1. I've shared with you the real secrets of the shadowing technique. As I mentioned before, the shadowing technique is a really powerful method for you to improve your spoken English. It's not a really quick method. It takes time, but it only takes 10 to 15 minutes a day to be really effective. After 30 days or 60 days, you will notice a dramatic difference in your performance if you do it correctly. And I've given you all the steps on how to do it correctly. It's up to you to do it. I guess many of you are going to be watching this video as you watch many videos. You look for tips, you look for ideas, but here's my challenge to you. How many of the videos that you watch, you actually act upon what you see? Or do you just say, that's a good idea, I'll do it later? If you're like that, I challenge you, after you've watched this video, revisit the video again and again until you understand how to do the shadowing technique, and then do it for 10 to 15 minutes a day for the next 30 days. I guarantee you will get a great result. You will get what I call an English breakthrough. You will move to the next level very quickly. Watch for part 2 of the shadowing technique. I'm going to share with you even more research and some small tweaks that will make a big difference. But don't wait until you watch part 2. You've got enough to get going with just part 1. Don't just say, that's a nice video. Take the advice, follow the advice, and do it. You will really enjoy the experience and the results.